Hello and welcome to episode number 190. I am Cornelius Fichtner. This is the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com. Nice to have you with us. This is a premium episode, especially recorded for our premium subscribers. Thank you for your support. In last week's episode, we gave you tips, tricks, and lessons learned on how you can improve your project communications with proper use of modern tools. Call them social media tools, call them Enterprise 2.0 tools, call them whatever you want. But at the core of using them is the understanding that many problems on projects today can be avoided with proper communication and collaboration within your team. But there are still unsolved problems on our projects. In this second interview with Robert Zielinski and Michael Krebs from Esentri, we talk about the need for a flatter top-down hierarchy, combining agile with waterfall, using enhanced social media concepts for project management, and other ways of integrating social media tools into enterprise project management. And now, let's all unfriend our sponsors. Enjoy the interview.
The Project Management Podcasts feature interview.
Today with Robert Zielinski and Michael Krebs from Esentri.
Hallo Robert, herzlich willkommen wieder beim Project Management Podcast.
Hallo Cornelius, vielen Dank für die Einladung in deinen Podcast.
Aber gerne doch. Und hallo Michael.
Hallo Cornelius, auch ich sage vielen Dank, dass wir bei dir im Podcast dabei sein dürfen.
Perfect. And now let's switch over to English and not frighten our listeners too much here. This is our second interview together on social media. And Michael, why don't you give us an overview, a quick overview and a recap of what we talked about in the first interview? What's the need for modern concepts and social media and project management?
Okay, no problem, Cornelius. I think what we wanted to point out in our first interview was how can we adopt the methods of communication in private social networking to the professional way of managing projects within our company and also within the projects we manage for other companies and for other stakeholders. And I think one of the key questions we have to answer within this interview also is how can we be agile, how can we be transparent, how can we be trustable, and how can we get people to collaborate within our project social network like they are used to it within Facebook or also within new social networks like Google Plus and all the other competitors on the market at the moment.
All right. And we did look at a few solutions in the first interview, but some problems are still open, right? They are not solved. What are those problems?
Yeah, you're right. Because I think if we look at the private or personal behavior in social networks, you're talking about your private things. You're talking about what you did last weekend. But it's a little bit more complicated within companies and within projects. Because one main thing in our eyes is beside the communication, you also have to optimize your processes. And in that case, it's also important if we talk about security, how can we store our data of a project in a secure way? And how can we motivate all team members to take part in this generated social network? Because one of our key claims is that every project automatically is a social network, but the people don't find together because they want to, but they are more or less forced to work together in this team. So you have one barrier to overwind in every project to motivate all the team members to take part in this effective way of communication we can build up with using social network methods within our projects.
You said every project is a social network. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What do you mean by that?
If you look at all the tools around in the internet, for example, on the private side, the Facebook or the Google Plus, and also on the company side, there are adoptions of tools like Yammer or like Socialcast. What is the core of these tools? And we think if you start up a project, there are different people who don't know each other, who come together for a kickoff, and who have to build a team very quick. So automatically after the first days they work together, they need to build up a social network, because if this social network is not working, the whole project is not working. And this is one of the biggest problems in project today. These projects are not successful because of lack of communication, and this communication lack is also part of this not building of social networks. So I think for successful projects, we need to take all the advantages of social networking and social project management to implement the stakeholders within our project management as it is possible, and also for improve the communication within the management of our projects.
Okay. And I think, Robert, this is now exactly what we're going to do in the next part of the interview here, because what we want to talk about is introducing the concepts of social project management in a company that doesn't yet have project management and the use of social tools like that. So let me start out with the challenges question here. What are the challenges when you do that, when you try and implement social media tools for project management in a company?
Yeah, thank you, Cornelius. And that's a really tough task sometimes, because not all companies are used to project management culture and social media. So maybe the first and most important issue is to improve the project management and social media culture in a company. Think about the retention of some team members. They are sometimes very, very careful because they think, oops, I'm transparent, and someone might not trust me, or do we really get better results if we communicate over a social network? And we experience very good results whenever we involve the management team. So to give them the feeling they don't lose control when they introduce a social media strategy in their project management area. But in contrast, they get better control in reporting. They have more motivated teams, and the fear of social media in the enterprise is not very critical, as long as you explain them how the data will be used and how secure the whole thing will be. That's the one part. A second challenge, of course, is to involve all team members. And what we experience here is that a lot of the project managers nowadays just try to involve the IT, but that's maybe the wrong part or only. You also have to involve the business people and to take care of the usability of your tools, so everyone can really participate. And sometimes you have to be pragmatic, so to introduce some tools people really like to use, to make it easy to them to participate and to share information with others. And by consequence, trust will be established, and people will have a positive and really good communication. The last thing is to focus on real life project activities. So not only academic concepts, really take care of what people need in their everyday life, and not only rely on academical or methodological concepts.
At this point, I think it's a good moment to remind people that you also are in the process of developing a social PM tool. Michael, tell us a little bit about this tool. What does it do exactly?
Sure. Our tool, Social PM, is the first and only real-time social PM solution. So we want to adopt the way people communicate within social networks to a social project management solution. What we are doing is we take advantage of the way people communicate within their private life and within private social networks to a professional and methodical way of doing project management. So what our tool does, you can get ready managing a project within a few minutes. Then you have a platform for your whole project communication, and we enrich that with task management and also with possibilities of classical project management like multi-project management, and also the reporting where your project is at the moment. Do you have the right milestones? Are you in time with your tasks? And we also have a very useful planning of your project and also of multi-projects within our tool. So I think what is unique on the market is our ability to combine classical or traditional PM solution with an agile way and the social media components within one tool. And this is really something that is really new on the market, because we are not talking only about communication, and on the other hand we are also not talking only about managing projects, but we try to combine the best of both worlds more or less within our tool Social PM.
All right, so that is a practical approach to answer these challenges for introducing social project management in an organization. Use your tool. Let's take a look at the solutions theory now here that we talked about earlier. You've given me 3 ideas in regards to the solutions theory. What could happen? First of all is to use enhanced social network concepts, then combine agile with traditional project management, and the third one is optimizing processes and results. Let's take a look at these 3 one by one. Who wants to take the first one? Who wants to discuss the enhancement of the social network concept?
Okay, enhancing social network concept, I think, is one very important point in implementing the way of social networks within projects. So if you look at Facebook or other social networks, there is one problem, because you have no role management and you don't have any security for your posts and your data and your messages. But within companies or within projects, I think it is very important that you have some kind of role management. Yes, every stakeholder should know everything, but as we know all of our daily business, if the management is talking together, it's important that they have their own tasks and their own way of communicating in their own place where no one else has access. So we have the possibility, or we need the possibility to have different levels of communication, and we can also build up the hierarchies within companies. A second thing is task management. There are some people who can add tasks. There are some people who can change tasks, and there are also some people who needs to control or maybe delete tasks. So not everybody should be able to do that, and we need to enrich these social network concepts with task management and also with roles to have a simple way to manage our projects and to implement the project managers and the other levels of hierarchies within our projects. This is the one side. This is the productivity part. Another aspect is the time tracking, because within all the projects you need to evaluate which member of the project has done what at which moment. Sometimes you need also to make some invoices, so it's very important to put all this information together within the project. This is not a feature you have within private social networks, because no one will track his time he was writing messages on Facebook. But this is very important in a professional way of managing projects and doing task management. The last thing I want to pick out in enhancing social network concepts for project management is the reporting functionality. Because one of the great advantages of a dedicated storage is that you have all data within one pool. So you can put out your data out of this pool, save time, have all data in real time within this pool, and have a real-time reporting also for the stakeholders and the project management, that you can see where is my project, where are the risks within my project, and are all milestones within time. And I think we need to combine all these facts I was talking about to enrich the main theme of social networking, to use it in a professional way within project management.
Right. And just as a reminder to our listeners, right now we're talking about possible solutions to simplify future implementation of social media in companies so that it's easier for us to use it on projects. And I think it is understood that the way social networks work today, that there is not enough control that we have over the social networks in order to make it really work. Like the roles, security, task management, reporting, that is really not part of it. And if we do have these kind of tools, it will be much easier for us to implement them on our projects. Now, another aspect of this is, you say that in order to simplify this or to make it more palatable for everybody, is we have to combine agile project management methodologies with traditional project management methodologies before we can really start flying here in this space. Robert, you're the project manager on this call. How do we do this in social media?
Well, as Michael said before, we believe that combining both concepts is a great asset for our projects. And to be honest, I think the concepts are not that different. And I don't think it's time for flame wars or religious discussions. For example, you could plan a project very traditionally or classically with traditional methods. But the implementation, for example, in the IT department, it could be Scrum-like or Agile. So I don't see any problem at all combining both worlds together. In general, I think the solution could be kind of a best of breed thing, where you put classical PM for the work breakdown structure, the reporting, earned value, and resource planning things. And you have the agile solutions and agile concepts, let's say Scrum, for example, to plan your sprints, administer your backlogs and your product logs. And you don't need a detailed plan maybe for the implementation, so in detail, but of course you need a plan overall to control your project. And the goal is to give more self-organization to the small teams, and the communication should rule over some strict rule sets.
Okay. And last but not least, the third item here on your list in regards to the solution theory is that we should think about optimized processes and results. What do you mean by that?
I will answer that question for you. I think only have a look at the way we are managing tasks in our days within projects. One example is the Excel sheet. So we have an Excel sheet, and this is sent via email from one person to another. We have different versions of an Excel sheet. And at the end of the week, everybody is talking about different facts because no one has the same version of this sheet on his laptop or on his PC. So the advantage of using collaboration and also social media, in my eyes, is enter the information only once, and everybody has the same information directly online in time on his screen. So you're avoiding multiple tasks, lists. One question you have to answer is what tools can be used. This depends on your stakeholders, which tools are they using today, what is the technical ability, which tools can they use, and what are the paradigms of the company you are working for. But if you have answered this question and if you have found the right tool, you have also the possibility that you maybe use the data of, for example, social PM within other tools. But be careful. I think it's important to store most of the data within one single point of truth. don't start with exporting your data to classical project management tools, for example, MS Project, because the chain then is cut in the middle, because we need to optimize our processes. We need one source where all things are stored. So be careful in using separate or third-party applications, but try to concentrate all your communication and all your data to one storage. I think what the final approach is you can get out of this social media and with this collaboration tools is you have no communication overhead. Everybody is informed right on time. And you will reduce the time the project manager and also the stakeholders are using for getting informed what their actual tasks and the actual problems within a project are. And the last thing I want to quote out here is think about mobile devices. Think about you are in the train or on the plane or on the airport. You also have the possibility with your iPad or your tablet to get all your information wherever you are, whenever you want them. And this is also possible only if you have one central unit where all the data is stored. This is not possible with classical methods like Excel sheets or WinWord tables. Therefore, you need one single point where everything and all your data is collected, as we call it, one place of truth.
All right. So the main focus of our interview today is how to overcome challenges as we are introducing social project management, social media tools in our organizations to manage projects. I always like to end my interviews with lessons learned, tips and tricks and experience from my guests. Today, we have 2 guests. Excellent. So I'd like to hear your suggestions for our listeners today. Separately, Michael and Robert, what are your final thoughts on this topic? What would you give as your number 1 recommendation to our listeners? Let's assume tomorrow they will start implementing social media, social project management in their companies. What are some of the things that they can do to be successful? Michael, why don't you start?
So my answer is very simple. I tell all our stakeholders and our clients, don't be shy, try it out. Because what's the biggest thing you can lose? The biggest thing you can lose is you go back to your classical way and manage your projects with the old-fashioned methods. But you need to try out what social media can do for you. And in most of the cases, we give the solution to use social media within the projects. The effect is temporarily it's after 1 or 2 days, all people are involved in the projects and they are happy with the new way they can manage their projects. And there are very few examples where we had projects that went back to the old-fashioned way of managing them. So try it out and don't be shy.
All right. And Robert, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation is very simple too. The project success heavily depends on the communication. So my recommendation is that communication in general is more important maybe than methodology. So be pragmatic on the one hand side and combine different methodologies and different concepts like agile and classical PM and use it together with social media, as Michael said. And you're going to see that very fast you'll have some great effects, and simple improvements will make your team work better together.
Perfect. Robert, Michael, thank you once again for having participated in our project management podcast here. I appreciate your time and appreciate your tips, tricks, and lessons learned.
Thank you for having us, Cornelius.
Yeah, thank you, Cornelius, for the invitation, and it was very nice for us, and thank you to all the listeners who took part in listening to this podcast.
And that was Robert Zielinski and Michael Krebs on why every project is a social network and how you can turn that into an advantage. That's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. As always, you can find us on the web at pm-podcast.com. If you are a project manager who wants to become a PMP, then the easiest way to do so is with our sister podcast, the PM Prepcast, and study for the exam by watching over 38 hours of video training from pmprepcast.com. Please send your emails to info@pm-podcast.com, and when you write, please tell me where in the world you are writing from. And finally, we have this. If at first you don't succeed, rename the project. Until next time.